All right, so there's inflation in the country. It tapered. That's what we have. That's what was released about 2 days ago by the NBS, and still on that eased inflation in Nigeria. On the backdrop of the MPC, which is next week, is it going to affect their decision? Is it affecting investors? And this easing of inflation is the first time in 11 months. It's now at 21.34 from 21.47. Well, let's delve into this and see how this is having effect so far. To join us for that conversation this morning is Dr. Joshua Banfo joining us from Ikoyi. Dr. Banfo is from Anderson, and he joins us to discuss this. Good morning, Dr. Banfo. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Ini, for having me.
Yeah. So this tapering of inflation, is it for real? Is it sustainable?
Yeah. So for us to be able to answer that question, we really need to look back at where we came from and what could possibly have led to the tapering of the inflation at the time that we expected it to rise, which was the festive period in December. We started the year 2022, January, from an inflation rate of about 15.60, and it steadily increased over the course of the year and hit a peak of 21.47 in November. So that had been the biggest concern for the Central Bank of Nigeria, that is how to actually rein in the inflation rate. Bear in mind, at the same time, they also have to deal with unemployment issues, and the only way you can deal with unemployment is to expand or grow the economy. And the economic growth rate has not been too successful. If you look at the Q3 result, it was around 2.5% growth rate. So inflation has always been the concern. Now the expectation would be that in December, where we have the festive period, there's going to be a lot of demand for goods and services, and the inflation rate would have gone up. But interestingly, it actually went down from 21.47 in November to 21.34 in December, and that has been some form of relief for the Central Bank of Nigeria. And that is the reason why people are skeptical as to whether the Central Bank of Nigeria will continue its contractionary monetary policy of increasing the monetary policy rate now, which is around 16.5, or is it going to hold it at 16.5 and now refocus on having expansionary monetary policy that would lead to higher economic growth. But what has been interesting is the reasons for the tapering off in December. One of the issues that have come up, or one of the causes that has come up, is the fact that we did experience, some slight appreciation of the Naira against the USD in December compared to November. I think in November, on the average, the Naira against the dollar was around 807 Naira to a dollar, whereas in December, it was around 745. And that slight appreciation meant that, we kind of brought down the imported inflation, which actually helped. The other argument that has been put out there, which we shouldn't be too excited about, is what we call the base effect. In other words, if you look at December of 2021, inflation was high. That means average prices was already high. So if the base effect, or the base that you are comparing with is already high, then the probability that the inflation rate will not be as high as the previous month, exists. And that is just a statistical issue and not something that we need to be excited for.
All right. So
another way to look at it is to look at, so another way to look at it is,
the MPC is next week. By Tuesday, we expect to get the committee's decision. Do you see them getting less aggressive about the hikes and interest rates now that we see this tapering of the inflation number?
Yeah, I think a number of economists believe that they are going to hold the monetary policy rate at 16.5, as opposed to the initial expectation of increasing it by, to let's say, by some 50 basis points. So we are yet to see. But if they do hold it, then what they are trying to signal to the investment community is that this tapering off of the inflation rate is something that is going to be sustained going into 2023. So that will be the signaling effect. But should they increase it, then there's a recognition that this could be a one-off issue and the inflation rate challenge has not been dealt with fully. And that could be a concern, because if really they believe that it's a base effect, a statistical issue, then there might be the need to continue to increase the monetary policy rate. However, If they believe that, look, we are going to be able to actually deal with the exchange rate issues, potentially in 2023, there could be a convergence of the power market rate and that of the official rate. Then maybe they would then hold it at 16.5, knowing that they are gradually getting the results of implementing this contractionary monetary policy over a period of time.
All right, Dr. Banfo, we just have to hold it right there because we're going to have this conversation again next week when the MPC meets. They start their meeting on Monday, conclude on Tuesday, and we get to hear their decision on Tuesday and see which way they go. But thank you so much, partner and head at Transfer Pricing Services and Economic Advisory Services with Anderson, Dr. Joshua Banfo. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Ini. I appreciate it.